Are Russian forces preparing for war in Ukraine? This is certainly what Western leaders and Ukraine itself fear. Just 7 years ago, Russia seized part of Ukraine and supported the separatists who started a conflict in large areas in the east of the country. But Russia says it has no such plans, so what is going on? Where is Ukraine located? Ukraine shares borders with countries in the European Union in addition to Russia. As a former Soviet republic, it has deep social and cultural ties with Russia and the Russian language is widely spoken. Russia has long resisted Ukraine's move toward European institutions, and its main demand is that it not join NATO or have a NATO infrastructure on its soil. When Ukrainians deposed their pro-Russian president in 2014, Russia seized and then annexed southern Crimea from Ukraine and Russian-backed separatists seized swathes of eastern Ukraine. This conflict continues in the east to this day. Ukraine says Russia has sent tanks, artillery, and snipers to the front in rebel-held areas. But the reported presence of 90,000 Russian soldiers close to the Ukrainian border is the most worrisome. There is no sense of an imminent threat, and Russian President Vladimir Putin has not announced that he has decided to invade. The Kremlin spokesman called on everyone to be calm. But Western as well as Ukrainian intelligence services believe that may happen sometime in early 2022. The most likely time to reach preparation for escalation will be the end of January, Ukraine's Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov says. U.S. intelligence says up to 175,000 Russian troops could be involved in these moves as early as January. CIA Director William Burns believes that Putin is putting the Russian military and the Russian security services in a position to act in a very comprehensive way. The same concerns prevailed in April of this year. But at the time, Russia said troop movements were in training and then withdrew. Before a 2-hour video call between Putin and U.S. President Joe Biden on December 7, 5 Western leaders asked Moscow to de-escalate tensions. Russia initially described satellite imagery showing troop-built UPS in Crimea not far from eastern Ukraine as alarming. But by early December, a presidential aide insisted that we have the right to move troops on our territory, denying that this was an escalation. Moscow accused Ukraine of moving half of its army, about 125,000 people, to the east. It alleged that Kiev was planning to attack areas controlled by Russian-backed separatists. Ukraine says this is nothing less than propaganda nonsense to cover up Russia's own plans. Russia's claim may become a justification for military action. Vladimir Desabarov, the number 2 on the International Affairs Committee of the Russian Federation Council, said in early December that 500,000 Ukrainians in rebel-held areas now had Russian passports. If the rebel leaders ask for Russia's help, he said, Of course, we cannot abandon our citizens. What does Moscow want? Putin warned the West not to cross Russia's red lines on Ukraine. So what are those red lines? One is to stop NATO's expansion to the east, and to deploy weapons in neighboring countries that could threaten Russia. There is a particular rejection of Ukraine's deployment of Turkish drones to counter Russian-backed forces in eastern Ukraine, as well as a rejection of Western military exercises in the Black Sea. In July 2021, Putin published a lengthy report on the Kremlin's website, detailing the two countries' history together and describing Ukraine's current leaders as running an anti-Russian project. He said that those who sought to turn Ukraine against Russia, in this way, will destroy their country. Russia is also frustrated that the 2015 Minsk peace agreement aimed at stopping the conflict in Ukraine has yet to materialize. There are still no arrangements for independently monitored elections in the breakaway regions. Russia denies complaints from Ukraine and the West that it is part of the ongoing conflict. NATO is defensive, and its Secretary-General, Jens Stoltenberg, has made it clear that any military support falls perfectly along those lines. Britain will help Ukraine build 2 naval bases. U.S. Javelin anti-tank missiles were also sent to Ukraine and 2 U.S. Coast Guard boats were delivered to the Navy. It is up to Ukraine and 30 allies to decide when Ukraine is ready to join the coalition, Stoltenberg said. Russia has neither the right of veto nor the right to interfere in this process. The United States has made clear it is committed to helping Ukraine defend its sovereign territory, but President Biden has indicated that military action is not on the table. So, even if the United States refuses to recognize Russia's red lines on Ukraine's accession to NATO or anything else, how far will it go to help Kiev? The biggest tool in the West's arsenal appears to be sanctions. Biden has spoken of very real costs if Russia takes military action, and U.S. officials talk of strong economic measures and support for the Ukrainian military. British Foreign Office official Vicky Ford said British officials were considering extending defence support. As for economic measures, the greater tool may be the threat to separate the Russian banking system from the international express payment system. This has long been seen as a last resort. Another major threat is preventing the opening of the Russian Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline in Germany, approval of which is currently being considered by Germany's energy regulator. There may also be measures targeting Russia's sovereignty.